When talking about the 3-bungee autogyro in the air
Someone
in the
asked
last
if
issue.
voice
is a gyro. This is called a light rotorcraft. It's a rotorcraft, of course, in terms of breadth. In fact, from a wide perspective, helicopters are also a type of rotorcraft. As long as there is a bamboo dragonfly on its rotorcraft. So how many different colors of suspense are there? It's purification. And what was the logic of that? Let's take a look together today. When I was doing the last video research on the rotary suspense machine, demonstration videos of early suspense machines. This video is from 1931. It shows exceptional performance of type rotating suspense machine. It can be used as a regular fixed aircraft. At low altitude, he can make all kinds of flexible jumping stick movements. It can fly at very low speeds. Can even be slower than a human bicycle. It can even hover. It's not about rotation. Can't a rotary machine hover like a helicopter? That's a standard modern simple autogyro. But look at the current state of this PAA type. Isn't it just a helicopter? The strength of the rotor is obviously driven by the engine. He can even steer like this. You see, he even has a fixed intention. The vice chair is still moving. You see his unpowered spin landing. Why is it so silky? It's better than helicopters today. Rotating suspense machine is also good. You know, this is 1931. In the past, the helicopter was a slightly more decent helicopter FW-61, but it wasn't introduced until 1936. Only relatively speaking, it really does the main flying and handling. It all depends on suspense. And PNA1 is when doing the spinning boat. How to ensure that the fuselage is not subject to suspenseful reaction saws. Add latitude to balance from the actual display video. And he did quite well. Is let in this era, aviation. The pioneer's basic understanding of aerodynamics. And the list I told you earlier. It makes no difference. And on the basis of understanding these basic principles, what makes a plane fly well? Then it will take time to try. Fixed aircraft are like this. The same goes for rotorcraft. In the process, there's the glare of success. But more of it was tears of failure, even blood. Obviously, this way of figuring it out over time is kind of useless. What to do then? Let's blow it with the wine first. Before the opportunity was created, you can build a scale model first. This can be done in the wine. Verify the aerodynamic profile. Feasibility. So as to identify more obvious unreasonable bugs. Make a truce in the dissect. Reduce the risk of timing and non-occurrence. As the plane goes faster and faster, the need for pneumatic testing is also increasing. It can be said that it has arrived. It's impossible to design the extent of the aircraft. However, wind movement also has its limitations. So let's start with this. It's not exactly the same. This is similar to the principle of scale waste I talked about earlier. The larger the scale, the more fragile. The larger the fluid, the more not sticky or finely broke. This is when sailing from large ships and models. You can see it intuitively by the way the boat is plucked. In short, whether it is water or air, flow attribute, it does not change in equal proportion with size. This is to verify the true flight of the aircraft. You have to be blown by a one-to-one model with a large wind movement like this. The cost and difficulty are greatly increased. And even so, when the wind blows, the data collected is also limited. Not every point can be seen. The difficulty of limited resolution. After the invention of computer simulation software got a breakthrough. So now every new aircraft dissect can't do without the simulated hair of the computer. He made the plane when designing the aerodynamic shape. Can be more detailed. So back to the suspense fuselage. After the Cambrian explosion in the early flowers bloom in the period. Gradually replaced by a single helicopter form. That's a main overhang plus a tail overhang. The main rotor passes through the automatic tilter and adds control back and forth. Left tail and rotor right is responsible for balancing the main rotor orientation of the body. And the two main rotor configurations juxtaposed and more triple rotor configurations were eliminated at one point. Only dual main rotor configuration in front and rear longitudinal multi-generation transport. Helicopters, the most widely used system is the anterior and posterior point rotor. At the same time, they turn upside down. And rhythm just don't hit together. Look very carefully at the base
Just like
of his
a
story.
helicopter.
All kinds of mechanical structures are operated
complete
in
the
one
movement
of the body back, adjusting
forth,
the relative
left,
size of
right.
cast suspense.
Can you
Example
complete the
sentences.
body
steering? Hey, that's not
The
right.
two
propellers cross each other. What if the speeds are different and they hit together? If you are adjusted to maintain the same speed, speak a sentence. It will also change the vitality. Destroy the balance before and unable
after.
to maintain a horizontal posture. The act of turning straight. Hey, there's another way. Just the front rotor or the rear rotor is crooked, or the front and rear rotors are tilted
So the
upside
translational
down. Force of the two axis positions. Can it be converted into the steering force of the body? This and the steering of modern 4-axis aerial drones. Very different. The 4-axis aerial drone relies on diagonal differential difference can complete its own steering. After all, that's the motor that drives the propeller directly. It's not that complicated. Back, forth, left, it's done by relying on the opposite side differential. Why is it complicated? Helicopter with suspenseful mechanical structure used as a mainstream large vehicle until today. One reason is that small and big are really different. As we discussed earlier, economies of scale in the size of modern manned helicopters. This big rotor, it does provide a more economically stable voice. It's not just a reversal of the downward wind. As mentioned in the previous video, this contrasts some people's vertical takeoff and landing aircraft from Key to F-35. And the vertical takeoff and landing transportation machine inverted to 3-1. When taking off and landing purely by reverse thrust, fuel consumption is rubbing. On the other hand, a helicopter spinner can fly for a long time. There's another reason. Depends on the motors on each axis. It can be flexibly adjusted separately. This is actually a semiconductor. Electronic technology has developed to a certain extent. It's been the mechanical age, the old way to stay. Old shot that this mechanical rotor control structure. It can also be achieved on small aircraft carrier helicopters. How can we, on a practical level? Multi-axis is at least 4-axis. It allows small flying machines, more suitable for hovering patterns. If it's small enough, it goes beyond hovering. Is it big to hit flying bricks? Take a visual inspection
How
of
much
the screen.
is the
propulsion ratio of the model was just aircraft. A burden to him anyway. Okay, for a little bigger, for a heavier aircraft. I asked a dedicated drone designer. He said that on a drone of this size, hanging boat ability is the strongest in multi-axis form followed. Fixed form weakest. Concubines have the opposite ability. The strongest fixed form. Helicopter form followed. Multiple forms are the weakest. So we see helicopter drones. There is also a place, but there are many hybrid drones. Doesn't seem to care about classification because a few more motors and propellers are installed. Them, it's really not a great price to pay. In fact, this kind of suspense agent is large. It was done in the 1950s. This hybrid monster first flew in 1957. It's very versatile at first glance. It can win straight and fly flat. However, in the end, under the consideration of overall efficiency, multi-axle manned aircraft were built. But this thing, can it outperform traditional helicopters in terms of efficiency? It's a big solution to turn suspense lightly. After a series of explorations during the Cold War, VR should become the first. It is also the only active duty in the world today. Large manned light turn suspense machine. This type of aircraft juxtapose the ancient left main rotor mode is back. The difference is his pair of main rotors. After completing the vertical takeoff, it can rotate forward, transform into a twin-driven horizontal fixed with aircraft. It's not easy to perform such a miraculous stunt. During the experimental phase and the early stages of service, due to a series of accidents, ultimately a lesson in all kinds of blood. In exchange for the deformity that is now safe and practical. This light rotor agent, vertical takeoff and landing of helicopters, the advantages of frequent flight speed with aircraft. Voice isn't perfect, of course. The design of the engine to rotate with the rotor, it also feels a little less soluble. So on the new generation V280 the engine stays still and just rotates the rotor. Just rely on the mechanical universal shaft to drive. Of course, the more extreme engine is put in the fuselage. It's driven by these long drive shafts. A rotor arrangement was never attempted in the early days. It doesn't work, so the design of this thing, You really have to strike a balance in practice. By the way, reasons for this upgrade like occupy 20,142 techniques based on current or encountered carry. Technically speaking, it's not good design. The reason is as mentioned earlier. In fact, what this large rotor provides is life and force. The double effect of backtracking. And the Shingley effect is more fuel efficient. A large number of science fiction films appear. Use pure reverse. VTOL aircraft with thrust engines. Even if it could fly, it would be a spring-outing monster. Therefore, it can provide relatively cheap suspense. Generalized suspense. Still the best solution. In order to further improve the performance of the concubine, in addition to flipping suspense, compound suspense agents have also been further developed. This SBE, it uses a coaxial inversion of the main rotor. Propulsion propeller mode. And with us, familiar with the many coaxes of the Comov design helicopter is SBE different. Uses a rigid main rotor. Certainly, it can be seen from the translation maneuver in its hovering state. Its rotor still has the function of periodic variable sentences. Just not like a traditional helicopter. There's a big swing like Karmer. So his two main rotors are coaxially reversed. Closer. It doesn't last as far as the Card series helicopters. Review history. The United States has long developed this type of suspense machine. Except for the SBE, which made its maiden flight in 2019, which first flew in 2015. There's even the S69. Which first flew in 1973. And this is jet-propelled. Further ahead, AH-56 lower edge helicopter. He also uses a rigid main spin. It's just a single spin. You start from his rotor. It can be seen from the distance from the fuselage. Why use steel? You see, it also has a horizontal propeller. It shows that the design also pays attention to the level flight performance. While the helicopter is in level flight, there will be talks on both sides. Inconsistent airflow velocity. The faster the level flight speed, the greater the impact of this reverse main rotor. It seems to solve the problem of left-right body imbalance. But as the amplitude of the horn lobe swing increases, there is also the risk of playing up and down together. So there's no flapping angle. Seems to be a solution. Looking back at the 1931 paragraph, 10 groups of rotation suspense. In the display video of PA1, in particular, the role of the swing angle is explained with a now typical spin suspense. No mechanical structure, but it was a typical helicopter that was born later, widely used, and then it's taken from the bottom. It was broken off on the helicopter with the S69. Well, as for this aircraft, is it called a helicopter or a compound rotorcraft? It doesn't matter anymore. Here's the thing. He can implement specific functions according to specific needs. And the underlying technology that enables this functionality also in place at the same time. When talking about the helicopter rotor structure those stresses did not disappear. These rigid suspense machines developed during the Cold War era. Can the new generation of composites stand up today? It will not be damaged after long-term use. Well, it seems that there is still a certain problem. SB recently lost to the V280 in the bidding, mainly in this rating. The V280 is still more advantageous in terms of speed. The so-called Section 280 is written directly on the name. Speed. In addition, after voice verification, King Juan technology is very mature. For 280 can be described as driving a use of positioning is not to replace residual and replace sound. The black sound helicopter. Is that so? On the field transport vehicle, they use hoverboards. So I just want to leave you with one thought voice question. And V280 per propeller. Can you do it like a helicopter? It looks like the mechanical structure is different. How did they do it? It turns in place like this. Okay, that's it for this video. What's wrong with the content? Please also ask the audience to add if you feel pointers. Good. Please ask for uncertain quality. I'm 262. Let's see you next time.